For this demo, we're going to build a skull with spheres. Anybody who's taken any of the sculpture classes that I teach, I usually like to start students out sculpting skulls. That's because I think it's a fundamental form that as an artist we should all be very familiar with. We see faces, so we should know the structure of the face, the human face, and the head. So the skull is always a very decent place to start, in my opinion. So we'll try to build one strictly using spheres, but only changing the proportion or the scale of the spheres. We're not really sculpting them, we're just putting the spheres together in the configuration of a skull. This is a way of sculpting that I never really practiced until like doing these demos. Ultimately, it requires another software to make it to finish it out, but we could start it out here. So we can start out with a sphere. Let's add another sphere right away. We can scale that sphere down. So we'll use global and XYZ, and that sphere, we'll move it up into place. That sphere will be mostly the forehead area. This back sphere will be the cranium, where the brain is basically. And so we're going to make the face come down from this front sphere here. So we'll duplicate that one. So it's Control C and then V. It gives us a sphere the same size. So we'll probably change the dimension of that sphere. Scale, only global, and move the mouse in the direction you want to get that proportion there. Move this back into place. Let's try the scale tool a little bit more. Let's try that, see what happens. So with three spheres, we kind of have a skull roughed out. The back of the skull is wider than the front. Widest point of the skull would be right around here. So let's next, how about bringing a chin out? Could probably do an angle there. We could think about this as the corner. So we could probably, I'm going to press enter to lock in on this piece so I can do my pivot point from here. Give it a slight angle. See what happens with that. I think I want to drop one here. For the mouth area. The maxilla, I guess you'd say. Scale that down. Only global, so I can go that direction. That would be the mouth area. How about if we add a couple spheres for the cheekbones? scale, both global and XYZ. Bring your mouse down. I'm gonna press lock, enter. I guess it already was on. All right, so we're gonna add the arches right here. We won't want them to be as wide as the back of the skull. We could always make that bigger, but so these won't be coming out. This is the cheekbone here is not the widest part. The widest part is behind that area. We're gonna make that right now. We could use these spheres. So Control C means copy. Control V places it. Unlock. Okay, there we go. So it's scale only global. I'm going to bring the mouse downward. I'm going to move it back. All right. Grab global so I can place it. Let's put a tilt on that. Use the rotate global tool. That's too much. Also, could probably make that longer. Let's make it longer because I want it to kind of connect a little bit more with that front sphere there. Let's see. Grab. Bring it down a little bit lower. Probably get more of a tilt. That's good. Maybe put a couple spheres here for the corner of the jaw, I think. Control C, V, grab. So this represents the angle of the jaw. So the widest points of the skull, this is the widest point back here, the cranium. The parietal eminence here, the zygomatic arch, next widest point. Angle of the jaw is the third widest point. So maybe we should finesse that a little bit more. Could do that. So that's the, is it the ramus, the body of the mandible there? Need to brush up on my terms a little bit here. Probably rotate that a little bit. It's not too bad. I guess we could do the same here. Okay, let's control C, then V that piece, see what it looks like. Let's all right. See what we get. Rotate that. Rotate that. Make it smaller, global, and XYZ. That's not too bad. All right. Let's add some frontal eminences there right above the brow. Maybe we start out with these spheres. Control C, then V, and then let's go to Scale, Global, and XYZ. And if you feel right above your nose, the base of your forehead, there's two prominent points right there. Do something like that. And then let's do something that helps us see that it's a skull even more. So we're gonna Control C, V those. Then we're gonna take the scale tool, only the global. And we're gonna make these. Then we're gonna go to back to scale, global, and XYZ. We don't need them big. Bring it out. So it's going to be the top of the eye socket. So we're going to go to rotate global and rotate it down from the center. And then we're going to rotate it back away from the center. We need to lock on that, press enter. And let's see what we got. Probably bring those out. So if we go to scale, scale, only global, and we move the mouse forward a little bit, probably, let's see if we can rotate that. I'm going to Control Z because I think what I had before was okay. I guess that's okay. So that should start to feel a little bit like